Charles and Shannon, things are really bad out here in Burlington. The water is rising by the second. Fox River is to the right of me, and as you can see, the water is continuing to rise. It's actually in this person's front yard that I'm standing in right now. And if you take a look at the side of their home, their backyard, their side yard, this is all yard and it's all covered by water. I talked to the homeowner here and they tell me that their basement is actually 6 foot deep in water and it's coming up to the first floor, but that's not it. Bridges are closed out here and also streets are closed out here. You can see neighbors taking a look at the river that's continuing to rise. But as you can see, streets are flooded and people can't even get to their homes. They say that this is the worst flooding that they've ever experienced.
Things happen. I mean, you can't stop Mother Nature. That's what I figure.
Take a look at this flood damage in Tammy Lust's basement.
This is crazy. I have never seen this.
The aftermath of this morning's storm.
A bed, tools, washer and dryer, Christmas stuff. There's all kinds of stuff down here.
All gone.
This is now the river.
Lust's backyard is supposed to look like this, but now the Fox River, which is walking distance away, is in her yard, moving and shifting things. In another part of town, more damage at local businesses, flooded and being pumped by city officials. Streets are blocked off because of flooding. Cleanup is happening and the river is continuing to rise. However, through all of this, Lust knows her Burlington community will bounce back.
Our community is awesome. Our community will come together. Burlington has the best community. Everybody comes together and takes care of each other.
Now, Lust says if she has to evacuate, she will. Now, coming up on Live at 6, I'll show you how neighbors are coming together to help each other out during this tough time. Live in Burlington, Brandon Rook, today's TMJ4.
Brandon, you've done such a great job giving us perspective of the flooding there, but can you tell me from where you're standing, how far was the riverbank normally? Is it 10, 20, 30 yards from where you're standing?
Yes, it's about, I would say about 40 yards away. I would say about 40 yards away is where the river is, and as you can see, it's all the way over here to where I'm standing now, and it's continuing to rise. We've seen police come over to this side of the bridge telling people to move their cars off the streets. They're actually telling them to move to the other side of the bridge because there's less flooding over there because they don't know when this water will stop rising. It's still rising by the second.
Wow, thank you, Brandon.
2 hours ago when I was speaking to you guys, I was standing in this front yard of this home that's right next to Fox River. As you can see, the front yard is fully flooded. 2 hours ago, the family told me that their basement was fully flooded. Now they say that water is coming to the first floor of this home. That's why they had to evacuate. They've been taking personal belongings, pets, food and things, and they are out of here. But just to put things in perspective, the only positive out of this whole situation is that neighbors and community members are coming together to help each other out because they say that they are going to get through this together. Now, Mayor Hefty has issued a mandatory citywide curfew for 10 p.m. tonight. So anyone out on the roads after 10 p.m., they should not be on the roads because they believe more flooding is going to happen. George and Carol, things are improving slowly but steadily. Just a few hours ago, I would have not been able to stand here in this front yard. The water was up past this hill into the streets of Burlington. But as you can see, the water is moving down by the minute here nearby Fox River. But the damage has already been done to homes along the river. Like this family here at this home, the Cassidys, they tell me that their basement was flooded. The first floor of their home was flooded. And now they don't even know what to do. They're just asking for the community to pray for their family.
We don't know what to do right now.
Feeling helpless.
This is a disaster.
Richard and Laura Cassidy have to take a step back.
Never realize what you got till it's gone. And it hurts. And
their house is now an island surrounded by flooding water from Fox River, fish swimming in their front yard.
It's devastating. It's really devastating.
The couple has lived here for 5 years now. They love the water and dreamed of staying here for the rest of their lives. Now that dream may be over. Not knowing if they'll ever be allowed to move back in. Yesterday, they tried to salvage anything they could. They tell me their basement is fully flooded and there's a couple feet of water on their first floor.
All the way through the bedrooms and the dining room and hallway and kitchen.
As of now, they say the National Guard won't allow them inside and they don't know when the next time they'll be allowed in.
We don't know because they're saying this is all contaminated, and we don't even know when or if our house is structurally sound.
So now it's just waiting, and the Cassidys plan to find a place to temporarily stay until it's safe to go back in.
We are out of luck right now.
Now, they were able to save a few pictures, some documents, clothes, and their pets, but that's it. Everything else is still inside of the home. Steve, normally on a hot summer day, people are outside in front of their yards and cars are moving up and down the streets here in Burlington. But as you can see, ducks are taking over the roads and the streets, hanging out in people's yards. That's because the Fox River has flooded streets here in Burlington, causing substantial damage to people's homes. But to be honest with you, things were worse yesterday. Things have improved today, and families are grateful for that because the flood waters are going down sooner rather than later. George and Carol, it is day 3, and today has been all about the cleanup process. Let me show you this family right across the street. This is all of the things from out of their basement, which was fully flooded. They've been clearing it out all day. As you can see, there's a water heater over there, some couches, and some desks. The family right next to them, they're still pumping water, and photojournalist Mark Wirtz is going to continue to pan over to the left. The family directly across the street, they've even rented a dumpster so that they can put their things into it. Now, as you can imagine, it's been a really busy day for families out here. It's been a tough time for them as well.
You see this stuff happen, but you don't think it's going to happen to you.
Very emotional, Shane McCarthy says this flooding has been a huge problem for his family.
I'm stressed. I'm on the verge of a breakdown right now.
They've had no power for 3 days now, and like so many others, it's hard to deal with.
You have to laugh or you're going to cry.
But instead of feeling down, they're picking up the pieces, cleaning as much as they can.
You try to do what you can to be precautions. I mean, wearing boots and wearing gloves. We probably should be wearing face masks.
They've been pumping their water for 3 days now and trying to salvage anything from the basement that was filled with water. Wet clothes are being dried and neighbors from all over are throwing out damaged property.
It sucks.
Brandon Hobos has rented a dumpster to take his damaged property out. He has electricity, but in the meantime, he's enjoying life with brats, beer, and neighbors, the Wisconsin way.
Gotta make the best of it. I mean, everybody pretty much just comes together, you know, that's what you gotta do.
Coming up on Live at 6, we'll show you what the damage assessment team is doing to help families. George and Shannon, FEMA officials say they received the request from Governor Scott Walker last week. Now they're here with other agencies to see if federal money is needed to help these counties bounce back. For David Fiegel, recovering from the flood damage has been a long road.
An awful lot of work, yes.
Fiegel, along with many other families in southeast Wisconsin, have been affected by this. Water damaged carpeting, drywall, furniture, and electronics, and he's without flood insurance.
We need help. That's all there is to it.
That help may be on the way. This afternoon, emergency crews from the federal and state level had a meeting prepping for tours of the damage beginning tomorrow morning.
We're hoping for them to start right here and look over the situation.
6 teams of FEMA and Wisconsin Emergency Management, along with other agencies, will be looking at flood damage to public infrastructure and personal property and businesses.
And we'll be here as long as it takes to see all the damage they want to show us.
Since the floods, local county officials have been doing damage assessments, and the bigger agencies are here to fact find.
We just need to make sure we validate and make sure the numbers are accurate so we can see where we go from here.
Leaving homeowners like Fiegel hopeful that FEMA can open up the door for extra funds. Tours will begin tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. for Racine, Kenosha, and Walworth counties. Officials say there's no timetable, for how long they'll be in southeast Wisconsin. The floodwaters cause lots of problems for families. The families I spoke with today say they hope some federal funding can come in to help them fix things.
Validating the information, talking to homeowners, if they're not home, talking to neighbors.
Taking notes and careful accounts of everything they saw, FEMA officials and other state agencies are scattered across southeast Wisconsin, touring flood damage.
I'm really happy that FEMA came out. We need a lot of support around here.
They'll be touring every affected neighborhood. Chipping away today, FEMA talked to as many homeowners as possible.
They just came and talked a little bit, asked how much of my property probably got damaged, who lived where, and how much I thought I lost.
Nearly 3 weeks after record flooding of the Fox River, families are still trying to clean up.
10, 12-hour days of just doing everything we can to save what we can and clean everything out.
Eric Mitchell hopes he receives some federal funding. Floods caused damage to his basement, and now his home is unlivable.
Oh, it's just good to see that somebody's here kind of assessing it a little bit more now, and hopefully there'll be a little more help coming to kind of pick up the cost.
Once all of the information is documented, it will have to go to Governor Scott Walker's office. Then he will decide if federal assistance is needed. Shannon, lots of homes sustained major damage. Some of these homes are unlivable. Families are left in tough situations without this FEMA money. Since the July floods, it's been a big challenge for Eric Mitchell to get his house back in order.
It's been a little rough.
But he still has to keep going, relying on himself for repairs. Earlier this month, when federal and state officials looked at damage, Mitchell hoped to receive some federal assistance. But that money won't be coming because the area didn't meet the threshold for FEMA's individual assistance program.
It's a little upsetting. I mean, because you like to see people get back on their feet as soon as possible.
So there's the big question of where do families go from here?
The city will come back.
Wisconsin emergency management officials say Wisconsin needed 580 homes to be heavily damaged or destroyed. Walworth, Racine, and Kenosha counties had 109 homes with major damage. 3 were destroyed. Local business owner Dave Stoffaker says he understands the process and knows the city will remain strong with or without FEMA money.
We're on our way to recovery and pray to the Lord that we saw the 100-year flood and we won't see it again in our lifetime.
This area is still eligible for other funding options. Coming up on Live at 6, I'll tell you about that.
That hurts. That's going to hurt a lot of us. A lot of us were dependent on that.
Especially for Richard Cassidy, who doesn't have flood insurance.
It's just tough. It's just tough.
He says his home was one of the worst hit. It's right next to Fox River. His entire basement was submerged, and his first floor was a couple of feet underwater, too.
We lost a lot.
So not receiving federal aid is a big challenge for Cassidy and other families in the 3-county area. However, state officials say there are other possible funding options to help families. Initial assessments show homeowners and businesses are eligible for U.S. Small Business Administration low-interest loans. But Cassidy is worried if he'll qualify because of a low credit score. Luckily, he has his good friend Dima staying with him from Chicago, putting in his new floors for free. George and Carol, with all that's going on in Texas, the Burlington community empathizes with the Gulf Coast. 7 weeks later, they're still in recovery mode. Many homes in Burlington have had serious damage because of the floods. After 4 months of repairs, there has been lots of progress, and many are thankful.
All the electrical, everything's been redone.
When we first met Richard Cassidy 4 months ago, most of his home was underwater from historic flooding.
This was a total nightmare, total nightmare.
Cassidy's home was one of the hardest hit in southeast Wisconsin. And throughout the recovery process, it was hard to survive.
When you lose everything you got, it's tough. It's tough, I'll be honest. Sleeping in hotels, sleeping in people's basement, not knowing what tomorrow's gonna bring, that hurts.
After months of repairs, Cassidy's home is back and better than it ever was. They have a new basement, new flooring, and plenty of new upgrades.
A lot of blood, sweat, and tear to get it back up.
And Cassidy has a new outlook.
No, makes you appreciate your home more. You really appreciate it more.
Just in time for the Thanksgiving holiday.
Tomorrow's gonna be great. Tomorrow is going to be absolutely wonderful.
At a home he almost lost this summer, he's grateful.
It's going to be a whole 9 yards. We're going to have everything, you know, the mashed potatoes, the gravy, the turkey, the ham, sweet potatoes, yeah.
Thanksgiving will be another chance of making unforgettable memories for the Cassidy family. More than 20 guests will be here tomorrow. In Burlington, Brandon Rook, today's TMJ4.